Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm quite excited. I'd like to share a little bit about the desire and vision boarding, and I've got quite a unique way of working with. I've been doing it now for about 16 or 17 years. Every year I've been doing myself a board, and I've run lots of different workshops, live workshops, particularly in Australia, and I thought it'd be really good to do a mid-year one for people in that mid-year space in coming up to July, and what can we do for the rest of this year and maybe for the beginning of 2025. So let's just have a quick go around, just maybe just say your name and where you're from, just so we feel like we're a community. I love to work in that space, and I think it's really important to say who we are and where we're from, and maybe just something about, just really briefly about your experience of desire and vision boarding. You may know it as just vision boarding, not desire boarding. That's the point of difference for me. So just your name, where you're from, and whether you have experience of boarding previously. So might start on my screen, might start up here with Pasco.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm Pasco. I live in Totnes. Just met Adrian recently. He's also in Totnes, so it's kind of cool. And yeah, I'm interested. I've been interested in doing a vision board for a while, but it's been one of those things that's just never quite gotten around to doing. So feels like it's time, to start to kind of just have a go at that and just sort of try and see what that's about. And yeah, I like the idea of bringing things into picture form, or sort of getting a clearer vision, because I feel like I've never had that. I've never had a clear vision. I've always been a drifter. I'm a bit of a drifter, so kind of interested in it. And
Beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Pasco. Yeah, we might go to Henrietta.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Henriette. I come from Norway. I'm a life alignment practitioner, and that's how I got to know Adrian's wife. And I saw this ad on Facebook, and I have never been doing vision board in kind of this figurative way. I've heard a lot of people use it. I've for many years, I've played with goal setting and manifesting goals, but not vision boarding. So I'm really excited to be here and to learn from you, Adrian.
Wonderful, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
And on the screen, Colin.
Right, okay. Colin here from Paynton near Totnes, and where Adrian's set his place up. And I'm really pleased to do this because I've learned about vision boards so many years ago, and I'm more on the esoteric side, to know that everything has energy, and you put pictures on a board, and at one level it reminds you, but another level you're sending out to the universe, hey, I mean business. And there's something that happens, and I've had some remarkable stories about the effectiveness of vision boards, even when people have, not realized how powerful they are, but they really have a spiritual power to themselves. So looking forward to the session.
Thank you, Colin. Yeah, thank you. And Frank.
I'm Frank. I'm from live in Sharpham, it's just downriver from Totnes. And I recently actually got my act together and made a vision board. So this is the one I've got at the moment. And it
Great.
was more about the qualities I'd like to embody.
Yes.
And I'm just interested to be here today to hear about perhaps a more systematic way of creating it and a more intentional way of creating it. So yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. Well done. Absolutely beautiful. So, a little bit of a backstory. Um, many years ago, like many people, I came across a book and a movie called The Secret, which was quite phenomenal. It was an Australian lady who put a movie together, and it had some quite influential people on there from around the world who were talking about this thing called the secret of manifestation and how to manifest. And one of the aspects in there that really came to the fore was this idea of creating a vision board. And I'm going to let Harriet in. Hey Harriet, nice to see you on here. So just going to backpedal a little bit. Everybody's introduced themselves briefly. So if you'd like to just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and something about whether you've actually come across vision boarding before. So just a very quick, brief intro, then I'll come back on track again. And you're on mute. Mute button. There we go.
Okay.
Beautiful. Hi.
Hi, I'm so sorry everyone for being late. I'm such a technophobe. Sorry. So I'm living here in Totnes, in the middle of town, and I have begun to hear about vision boarding lately. And I need help with a project I'm working on, so it seems timely to come on this today. And I know Adrian, and so here I am. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, welcome. Yeah, so just going to just briefly retract. So there was a movie and a book came out many years ago, probably nearly 20 years ago now, called The Secret. Has some very influential people on there, and one of the aspects was the vision boarding. And I thought, oh, that looks interesting. So I did my vision board, and I had some remarkable results. Just now, somebody mentioned having a vehicle on there, then the vehicle manifested. Well, I did the same. I put a picture of a Delica four-wheel drive, because at the time we had sort of half a dozen kids running around, so I needed a big eight-seater. And I put a picture of this eight-seater Delica on my vision board. And a few weeks later, I was in a car park, and this green Delica pulled up beside me. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I have one of those on my vision board. And I said to the fellow, oh, I said, I've been looking for one of those. He said, well, this one's for sale. And you know, like a week later, I'm driving around in my green Delica because I bought it off him, the diesel, good condition, an amazing price. And so that's one thing that happened. And then just another quick story, just to give you sort of an energy flow around this. Arlene and I, going back probably 12 years ago, were running a vision board manifesting workshop. And Arlene said to everybody, right, imagine something you wouldn't usually think of having in your manifestation mindset. And I went, okay, I'm not really a tech, you know, a bling person. I don't really do jewelry. I went, okay, a diamond, you know, it's sort of something I would never think of getting because I'm not into bling. Finished the workshop, walked outside, got to where my car was parked, actually the Delica, the van, and I looked down by my door and there was this diamond about this big. It was one of those $2 magnetic diamonds with lots of mini diamonds in there, you know, one of those fakey ones that children buy. But it was right there by my door, so it was magnetic. So I got it. I stuck it on the front of my Delica. So I had this diamond on the front. So one thing about visioning and manifesting is get really clear on the types of you may get a diamond, but you may get a fake diamond. So it was a great lesson for me to get really specific. And there were lots of other things, you know. There was another one. I had a balloon, an air balloon on it, and I was gifted an air balloon flight. You know, so lots of things have unfolded. My current board, they're starting to come to fruition of the things I'm looking for in my life. So what I'd like you to start with, let's just start with a moment of just clearing the space around us energetically, bring ourselves into what I call our core and our desire. Let's see if we can open up space. So here's my core, and I'm going to put out to the universe my desires. What I really want in my life. So let's just take a moment to tune into that. Put your desire hat on. Put your energy flow out into the universe. And let the universe know you're here. Tuning into the universal abundance. Because it's everywhere. And the only thing that stops us flow is ourselves, of course. And when we get clear on our desires and we connect to that universal abundance, things can really start to happen. That's good. So what I'd like you to do while you're in this space, you can open your eyes and pick up your pencil or your pen for your paper. I'd like you to see if you can, it may not be easy for you, but just get a sense of it, because you can take this work away afterwards, or we can do some work together later on, is get really clear on what are the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 main passions in your life, because this all starts with a passion. And I'll give you an example of mine. I love to travel, I love to write, and I love to teach. They are my 3 greatest passions in my life. I always have to be teaching, writing, or traveling. So what are your 3 passions? And that could be work, could be family, could be travel, could be artistic, might be meditating. What do you do? If you had to get out of bed for 3 things, what would those 3 things or 2 things or 4 things be that you definitely get out of bed for? And then the question comes, how much of that is currently in your life, and at what level are you playing that game? At what level you're engaging and allowing that to happen? An example would be if you're a book writer and you love writing, how many hours are you writing? How many books have you published? What are the books you want to publish? Where is that desire? How deep is that desire? So the question is, where do you desire those things to take you in your life? What's the huge big vision? What's the big goal? Where would you like to take that? Is it into a place of peace, abundance, adventure, fame, joy, pleasure, finance? Where would you like that to take you? Just write that down for a moment. No judgment, because it's the judgment that stops us. I'm not good enough, big enough, rich enough, clever enough, silly enough. Sometimes you've got to be silly. One of my favorite attributes, being silly. So where would you like it to take you? And what is that place? Is it pleasure, joy, fame, abundance, finance, peace, or something else? So the question is, what do you desire from life? This is why I have a bit of a distinction from vision boarding to desire boarding, because it's great to have the vision, but for me, I really want to desire it. That's why I don't put things on there that I sort of know I am going to get. It's like this is you know, I put the TV on, the toaster on there, and the washing machine, and you know, nice car, blah blah blah. But what's the desire behind it? What, you know, why do I want it? What's the richness of receiving it? Then we can start to visualize it. And the reason I love to do the vision boarding and have the visual is because many of us, when we think of the 4 ways of learning, you know, the visual is one of the key ones. You know, then we have auditory, of course, and we have visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. But visual is a huge one for us. And when we have that image in the forefront of our mind and we plant that in the subconscious mind, we can work with it every single day. This is my picture, this is my image. of what I'm trying to bring into my life. And I can match that image with my thoughts, and then I can send that vibration out to the universe. And it's amazing how it can come in. So before I drop down and do the sort of the bigger aspect of showing how to create the vision board, I'd like to do exactly what happened to me with my little diamond, just for a little bit of connection between us and a bit of silliness and a bit of fun maybe, is think of one thing that's quite different than you'd ever asked to be manifested, like I did with the diamond. Like I did with the diamond. Something that ordinarily you wouldn't have, that, you know, could just drop into your life. It could be somebody's going to come and put a you know, a shopping bag in my hand, or they're going to, you know, they're going to come and do something that's totally out of your usual thought pattern. What would that be? What would that thing be that would be out of your general thought pattern? Because I want to test the theory a little bit and get you to really feel into it and go, oh, I'm going to be open to this happening to me in the next minute, week, month, and see how that may draw towards me. So write something down on your bit of paper, one little thing that you go, yeah, I'm going to put out the universe for this thing. And when you have everything, we might have a little bit of a share. We might start with Colin, just briefly. Colin, what have you written down? Just read out what you've written down.
Okay, I've got that someone is going to give me a ticket to park my car. You know, when you go to the car park, you go to the machine and
Yes.
says, "Oh, hang on, use my ticket. It's got another hour or two on it." You know,
Brilliant.
so someone will come up and give me free parking ticket. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Frank.
I had someone is going to give me a bar of chocolate.
Oh, beautiful. That's fantastic. I love it. Oh. And
Or
Harry?
a nice, it's going to be a nice bar. It's going to be
Yeah,
some
you
good,
deserve a
good
nice bar,
chocolate.
Frank. Thank you. Harriet, what did you write down? You're on mute. You're on mute. You just need to unmute. Oops,
Uh,
lost your video.
I can speak, can I?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
hang on.
absolutely. Yep, you can.
How do I do this? Went into safe driving mode. Can you hear me?
Yes, yep. Hear you and see you. Yep.
So my mind just kept going to things that I know would be normal for me to kind of desire. I found it very
Yes.
hard. I went for your example, Adrian, and I imagined a diamond.
Okay, beautiful.
Ease.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Sometimes you just bring in what other people have had as successful. So hold that vision for a diamond, see what happens. And you know, it can come in many forms of diamond, like it did for me. You know, it could be just the shape of a diamend.
Well, no,
So,
I've gone for a real one. It's very valuable.
oh, all right, that's clear. That's clear. Oh, there might be some good news coming in the next couple of years. Oh, beautiful. And Henrietta.
I asked for a ticket to go to the opera.
Wow, okay.
I've never been to an opera in my life, so I think
Wow,
that would be amazing.
that was incredible.
I never
Oh,
wished for it either.
oh. It's funny because when Arlene was in Oslo, she was taken to the opera by Tora. So,
Cool.
so you never know. She's coming over. You might get to go to the opera with Arlene. But we'll see. The universe delivers in many, many ways. You know, it really does. And Pascal.
I'm really not sure why this came into my mind, but it's the only thing that came into my mind. It was a book about France, about French driving, or maybe driving in France or something like that.
Alrighty. Wow. That's brilliant. Yeah, and I share mine, something I haven't done for a long time, and I sort of put it out of my thought pattern is I'd like to go pony riding or horse riding. So, having that gift of, or the opportunity of horse riding or pony riding, that sort of dropped into my mind. Okay, that would be an amazing thing because I haven't done that for a long time. I used to have my own horse, and it's like been a while since I've ridden one. So, yeah. So write that down in your desire, and you write it down in such a way as my desire is to have ... arrive in my life. And then the idea would be that you write that out somewhere and you pin it up somewhere. And if you want to put a little image of that, like draw a little picture next to it of what that thing is, or download a photograph or pin an image next to it, and then put it on your fridge or on your wall or somewhere you see it every single day. You might want to take a photograph of it so it's on your phone or your screensaver on your computer, so that it's forefront of the mind every single day. Because this is the idea of vision boarding, that we keep bringing it in. I know a lot of people, they do a vision board, they put it in the cupboard and say these things don't work. Because it's about the consciousness around it, it's about the connection to it, it's about the clarity around it. Yeah. And getting really clear on what it is. So that's a little taster, just to, for a bit of fun, just to see what unfolds and to give you an idea of how you can work on something that's unusual. Then I want to bring us back to those things that you really desire. Really desire. That could be around traveling, feelings, projects, writing, adventure, the home, family, creativity, your values, your qualities, your spiritual journey, etc., etc. It's a whole range. So I'm going to share that, and how do we begin that and put it together? So there's a few ways of, in the old days, what we used to go to news agents and shops and things like that and collect all these magazines and books and get the scissors out and be at the workshop, and we'd be snipping away, and we'd have hundreds or sometimes thousands of little pictures. We'd have the glue, we'd have a big piece of cardboard, and we'd stick all the pictures on there. And I've actually still got one of my old original ones from about 14 years ago in my lockup in Australia. And it's thick cardboard, and it's got all the images stuck in it. But what I do these days is I do it on my screen, and then I just drag and drop images and photographs onto the screen. Then I go to the printers and I get it printed, and then I have a photograph. So on my phone, when I open my phone, I have my board. When I open my computer, and I'll show you that in a second, it's there, and I also have a printout as well that I look at and work with every day. So let me just share with you. Can you see that? This is my 2024 desire and vision board. So just take that in for a moment. You can see how I've worked with it. Oops. Can you see behind there? Or there we go. So just on the right hand side, I don't know if you've got the same as me, but I've got a picture of everybody. Or can you see the 2084 book or not?
Yeah.
Yep. Can you see it now? Still? Or have I covered it up?
Still see it.
Oh, good. Okay. So I've got a different thing. So if I go through it for you at the moment, I'll sort of explain how I've created mine, and mine has changed a little bit, and I do tweak it sort of every couple of months. Something may come and I'll change it or choose into the energy of it. So I'm just going to go from top left, and I'll take you across of why I've put it on there and what the desire is. So the first top left one is a place called the Goetheanum in Switzerland. It's sort of the home of my spiritual work in Rudolf Steiner anthroposophy. I was there last year, and I have a desire to become part of the medical section there and actually take my therapy work and the psychotherapy into the Goetheanum, because they do not have psychotherapy in their medical section and I've got a really big vision to do that. May take several years, and I've started that already. I've already started talking to the leader of the medical section, etc., etc. So that's a huge one for me. The next one is Africa. I take tours to Africa, and I'm set to do another one next year. I haven't done one for a few years because of COVID. Then underneath that, I love adventure. I love camping. I love going around. I'd love to have a, my van where I could just jump in and go traveling. Strikehold is a side business I run, and I'm trying to establish that here in the UK. Just got some stock come in last week, and that'll be like an adventure that I step into, and trying to really build that up into a, potentially multi-million-dollar business. It really has got a potential. It's already in Australia and in the US. Next one underneath and on the left, I'm a writer. So obviously writing is there. Family and friends, a big part of my journey is my family and friends. Underneath that, you can see there are 3 homes there. Because I thought, where do I want to live? And actually, I want to live in 3 places, sort of keep traveling and moving over the next 20 years of my life. South Africa, Australia, and the UK. So I have a little cabin in each one, or a little home in each one. That's my vision board. How that will eventuate, I'll leave that up to the universe. I'll start to plan it and work with it. LifeWave is a business I'm also aiming to have huge in my life and bring in that, absolute financial abundance. Going up, spiritual practice. Around that, intimacy, pleasure, massage, teacher, traveler, meditation, divergent. They're all the key aspects of what I really want to bring in from an emotional feeling place. I want those in my life. I want to feel that, and it's me. I want to feel that pleasure. I want to be the traveler. I want to do the meditation. So you can put some words on the board as well. Now, the big one here is people, the money thing, how much money would you love to manifest? And this is often times when we hit the glass ceiling, when we go, oh, I don't know, I can't put that on. So for me, mine is 20 million. And I'm really clear of why that is there. I've actually got a big sheet of paper where that 20 million will be absolutely used with family, friends, business, investments, etc., down to the dollar. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, and I can share some more information on that after the call. So whatever you put down, if you're going to put a dollar figure on there, you've got to get really clear of why that figure is there. What's it going to be used for? What's it going to be the need for? What's the desire for it? And coming across a little bit more on the right-hand side, you'll see Play Sam. That is a children's game I've invented, and I'm just in the process of having it all manufactured and put it into the world. And once again, that can be a huge, big gift so people can have fun, but also it can be a really lovely financial investment as well. So I'm getting there. I've got all the pieces made. I've got getting the board made. I've got a manufacturer in Australia doing the pieces for me, etc., etc. That's been about 4 years in the making. It's been on my vision board for 4 years. So there's that one. Let me just see what else under there. Public speaking at the top. I love public speaking. I really want to get on the bigger stage. I really have a vision of being in front of not just scores of people or hundreds, but thousands with my work. Particularly, probably through the things like the Goetheanum in Switzerland, so I can do my public speaking. Underneath that, you can see I've got a golf course. I love golf. And I would love to be a member in several different places where I can just go and play golf whenever I feel like it with my buggy, because I love the game. And I really play it. It's really funny. It's one of my favourite things to do. And I've got this psychological thing that somehow stops me to go and do one of the beautiful things I love doing. So this is a reminder, Adrian, keep at it. Stay with it. You can play golf, give myself the freedom, the allowance to go and do it. Because I've got a bit of a story around it, and I'll share about stories afterwards. And I've got happy in there because it's my happy place. I love playing golf. It's one of my happy places. 2084 is my novel. I published that 4 years ago. I haven't done enough with it. I really want to make that a bestseller. I'd like to sell 1 million copies of my book. That's my vision. So that's absolutely on there, which contributes to that big 20 million. Underneath that, you can see I want to make it into a movie one day. I would love to bring my novel into a movie. That's one of my biggest desires and dreams. And it would be easy for my mind to go, who are you to make a movie? Daddy, 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 da. We know the stories. But I'm going to circumvent that negative with having it on my vision board and really focusing on it. Next out, you can see I've got a screen with myself and my good mate Daryl. We're runners, and one of my big visions is to keep running for as long as I can for the rest of my life. Even in my 70s and 80s and 90s, I want to be fit enough to be able to keep running. Right down the bottom of that, I've got giving and receiving, and this is a reminder for me to give and receive and find that balance. Because I tend to give a lot, and it's like learning to receive a bit more. For other people, it might be the opposite. You might receive a lot, and you might need to give a lot. We shared this last night in a group I was with about this balance of giving and receiving. Above that, there's this idea of one day having a restaurant or a cafe called Rudolph's Diner, which is my teacher, and that's been in my mind for many years, and it's looking at how do I get involved with that space of catering, restaurants, cafes, and then one day having that for myself and having my Rudolph's Diners cafe. I love the play on words with Rudolph's Diner and Rudolph Steiner. And then above that, last year I did a charity run for an orphanage I support in Africa, and I'm going to keep doing that and raising funds to put a solar system on the village, and that's the forefront of mind. So that's all that. Oh, and above it, your health and investment is not an expense. So I reminded myself to keep investing in myself, health and well-being wise. Now, right in the middle, you'll see some photographs. This is one of the keys to desire boarding, to put a photograph or a picture of yourself right in the middle of the board, because this is about you. Because a lot of people give to others, you know, we all love helping others and supporting others and rescuing people and blah, 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 blah. But one of the biggest tasks is self-love and to give to ourselves for many, many people. So we have to put ourselves right in the middle. And for some people, even the fact of putting a picture in the middle of the vision board can be really challenging. I've had some people say, Adrian, I can't do that. It's like I love giving to everybody else. And the picture you put in the middle is either an oldish one, not too old, like it's not when you're like 12 or 14 when you're, but something quite around, within the last few years. Just one of your favorite photographs where you look good, feel good, smell good, taste good, and you're like, really, yeah, this is me, this is my core. Or you do a bit of a Photoshoppy one, if you want to. Yeah, sort of Photoshop it a little bit and shrink it down, maybe have somebody else's sort of body on there, and you put your head on there or something, because that's how I want to look. That's how I want to be. They're not Photoshop, by the way, that is me. And it's like, that's me in my element, that's me in my passion, it's me in my absolute core, happy, lovely space. It's me in my health and well-being. It's me with my partner, Eileen. The one with 2 boxes under my arm, that's where I lost 15 kilos in 3 months, about 5 years ago. Went on a crash fitness. And then the picture there of me at the beach is a result of that, where I got really into my physique. So how do you want to look? How do you want to be? How do you want to dress? How do you want to walk? How do you want to talk? How do you want to be seen? How do you want to feel? And you can put just one photograph on there if you like. You can put, like I've done, a few. Like my didgeridoo is a big part of my world, so that's on there. So this is about, I call this your future potential self.
Gonna have to go, mate.
Okay, we'll catch up. Thanks, Pascal. Yeah, so this is about your future, what I call your future potential self. This is stepping into that desire of who I want to be. Because you can have all these material things around you. You can have all the money and the cars and the houses and everything. But if we haven't got that core feeling of who I desire to be, it's very hard to get the rest of it. And this is a core difference of how I work with desire boards and vision boards. I bring the self into it. I bring the self-love into it. I bring the I deserve it into it. Because what often stops us is that belief I don't deserve. And if we're not looking after ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, inwardly,
When you finish, I'm only at walks.
yeah, then it's very hard to get that external. And that blend of the giving and receiving, inward and outward, inward and outward. So I would urge you, go and I spend some time to get this centerpiece happening. Get this centerpiece happening. And put yourself in the middle. With a picture, an image, a photograph. It can be a sketch if you like to, but it's usually better with a photo, an image, or a picture. Like I've got 6 on there to represent it because I've got my lovely wife in there as well, because that's a big part of who I am. She's part of that.
I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
is it easy to, I mean, I've got an idea of how you draw in stuff with my laptop and how to technically actually do that. You know, will you be giving a little explanation how we could do that?
Yeah, I certainly will. Yeah. So as I said before, you can do the scissors and the pictures out of magazines and things if you want to, which is a really fun way to do it. It's great, particularly if it's a group, and some people still love to do that because they don't want to go into the technical side of things. The other way is you just simply open a Word doc. Yep, and you have your A4, and you just go insert. Yep, and you click, and you insert your photographs, your pictures. You can Google. So, for instance, say you wanted a Tesla car, which was actually on my old vision board. That's gone now because I don't feel like I want a Tesla anymore. But I did. I hired one last year and I fell in love with it, and it went straight on my vision board. But I've changed my desire on that. So you can download pictures off of Google. You know, put them into a file, save them all. Several of these are just off like my pictures of Australia, Africa, and England. They're just Google pictures. I just typed in cottage South Africa, cottage Australia, and cottage England, and you just save them, and then you can just place them where you want. And then in the top you can see I've just put up a text box, my 24 desire and vision board, and then you can just muck around and place them where you want.
And you can resize them. You can resize them, presumably.
Yep, on a Word doc. Yep, Word doc. You can make them smaller, bigger. You can clip them as well. You can go into cut. Yep, and you can really play around with it. And if you want some support after this, anybody just contact me and I can jump on Zoom for 20 minutes and show you how to do that. It's pretty easy to share. But it's pretty just a Word doc. Or Canva. You can use Canva as well. If anybody use Canva, Canva's a great one. And then you can move them around, you can put colors behind it, you can enlarge it, you can drop words in, you can write in it if you want to. You can be as creative as you like. But the thing is make them your desires. You know, what do I desire from those 2 or 3 or 4 aspects I have in my life? And then what's it going to, you know, where am I working? What am I trying to bring into my life? Like to me, I'm trying to, you know, I'm bringing in abundance, I'm bringing in joy, you know, I'm bringing in adventure, bringing in happiness, I'm bringing in that idea of balance in giving and receiving. I'm quite clear on what I'm trying to bring into my life and why and what it makes me feel. Gives me pleasure, gives me intimacy. Creativity is a huge thing for me, so I have to be creative. And we're all different, so you've put your own take on this. But when you create this and then for me, this is my screensaver. As soon as I turn my computer on in the morning, this is what I see. And then what I do, I sit for a couple of minutes in front of it, and I'll either take it all in, or often what I'll do, I just focus on one area for a day or a week, or sometimes a bit longer. Like I'll maybe tune into, say, strike hold. It's quite bold on there, you can see on the left hand side. I'm trying to get that business happening here at the moment. So if I focus on that for a week, it's amazing who comes into my world, the people I connect to, the people I talk to, the people I can give some samples to. People say, oh, I know a mechanic who would love to try that product. Next thing I know, I'm talking to a mechanic and he's bought 10 bottles of Strike Gold from me and put in an order for, you know, $400. It's amazing, just that. So part of it is the whole vision, which I do when I first turn on, and then I hone in. And I would highly recommend you hone in on one thing for, you know, a specific time, maybe a week, or a couple of things. You know, one might be a bit less businessy, and one could be golf, for instance. I could focus on golf and Strike Gold, and then I'll probably play golf and meet somebody on the golf course who wants some strike hold. Strike hold is a lubricant spray, by the way, for there's another mechanic shoes and all different people. It's a fantastic
What do you
product.
mean when you hone in on it? You mean you focus, you don't change anything, but you just focus on that part of the vision board for that week?
Yes, I do.
And
I spend a few minutes. I focus on the wording and the image. I put that into my mind, and then I'll just drop into like a calm space for a few minutes and go, right. And then I'll say something like, okay, universe, I'm handing it over to you. So I ask, and then I wait and I receive. I ask and I wait and receive. And if you look at all the scriptures, all the incredible things have been written over, hundreds of thousands of years, it's all about that. It's all about asking and receiving. Asking the universe, asking spirit, asking God, whatever language you have for it. And when we're clear about it, when we ask for it, when we pray for it, it's amazing what comes in. I've had some incredible things. Incredible things. And you'll find that it'll start to unfold and you'll go, wow. And then what often happens from a psychological perspective is it starts to come in towards us and then somehow we block it. Somebody will come up and try to offer you something. I had this on the weekend. I helped somebody move a settee. They said, can I give you something? And I said, no, it's okay. And I went, whoa, Adrian, stop. I said, actually, thank you. And I put my hands out and this lady put a nice little gift in my hand. She actually put some energy frequency patches in my hand. And I said, thank you. Because I realized in that moment, as soon as I said no, I was blocking the flow. So one thing I want you to take on board right now, no more no's. If somebody offers you something, you say thank you graciously and you accept it. What's the old saying? You never look a gift horse in the mouth. You accept it with grace. And if you want to pass it on to somebody else afterwards, beautiful. But as soon as we get into that time frame of, oh no, it's an old story. It's an old story. We block the flow of energy. And the universe will go, oh, you're blocking that. You obviously don't want other things either. Yeah. The law of reciprocity, you give something, you receive something. So you accept it with grace, accept it with gratitude. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's like if you walk into a cafe and somebody says, would you like a coffee? And you go, oh no, it's okay, I'll get my own. No, thank you very much. I'd love to have a coffee with you. Just simple things. It's the simple things that teach us and teach our subconscious mind to allow the flow. And then bigger things will come. Adrian, would you like a house in South Africa? Yes, thank you very much. It happens. I know people have been gifted incredible things, way beyond what anybody would even think they would be gifted. It's incredible. The universe is the most incredible place. Incredible place. Some of the stories I come across, particularly people who are doing manifesting, it's amazing what comes into their lives. I've had it myself. I was coming to England last year, sort of had my dates, and then somebody said, oh, I think there might be a spare room in the house we're living in. Would you like to move in? Oh, thank you. When is that? It was the exact date I was coming across to the UK. It was like, oh, thank you very much, universe. And I now live in this beautiful old 14th century house in the middle of Totnes, and it's gorgeous. It was manifested absolutely purely. So that's the vision board. Take down some notes, take some ideas. I'm going to stop sharing. Unless you have any questions about the board before I take it away. Any questions about the board before I take it away? No? No. Okay, I'll stop share. Come back to screen. So hopefully you've got a bit of an image, a bit of a picture of what you'd like to bring onto it. And then what I like to do quickly, I'm just going to share. Can you see the whiteboard on here? Yep. Can you see the whiteboard? Yep. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do something a bit like this. And there'll be some meaning to this in a moment. So there's a few ways to do vision boarding. You can do it like systematically, squares, you know, a bit like sort of what I did. But before you start to put images and pictures on, you have a piece of paper in front of you. I'd like you to either do like squares if you're like more of a square type person, to do like say 16 squares on the A4, or do some squiggles like me. But right in the middle, somewhere close to the middle, I want you to put a square or a circle and write the word me in there. So you can do squiggles like I have, so you're separating the page up into different aspects. But right in that center one, just in here, you're going to write me. And that's where your photographs or images of you are going to go. Now the other aspects, you've got two or three or four main life aspects or passions that we spoke about before. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to write travel in that one. I'm going to write in that one. And write teach in that one. So two or three. So on your page somewhere in those squares or circles or squiggles, add two or three or four of those things you wrote initially, your passions of life, your things you love doing. And then you might want to do things like abundance. Yep. You might want to put in something like home. You might want to put in something like business or vocation. Yep. So you start to fill out like a puzzle. Start to fill it out. And I'd urge you to do this first before you start putting pictures and images and words on, just to give yourself a sense of what do I really desire, what do I want to bring in what areas of my life. And you could have as few as 2 or 3, you could have as many as 10 or 12. I wouldn't suggest going beyond sort of 10 or 12.
What was the last part you said there, Adrian, about 10 or 12 years? Would you put a specific timing on each goal?
No, sorry, 10 or 12 aspects. So like what I've done here,
Mm-hmm.
you might have just 2 or 3 things. You might just put in travel, abundance, and teach, but you might want to put about 12 things on your board. I wouldn't go beyond 12 topics or 12 aspects. It gets a bit sort of messy and crowded, and then the subconscious mind, it's too much of a spaghetti mix for it. There's too much going on. So to begin with, you might want to do maybe 5 or 6 or 8. That's probably enough. And then you can put the images that match the wording. So you saw what I did for my writing. You might want to put, creativity in there. And then in one of them, in here, you probably want to put, if you want to, you can put your put the money thing in there. How much money would be my ideal desire that the universe would deliver to me, either in one lump or over the next 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years. That's up to the universe really, and it depends how strong our desire is. It's amazing what can come in. People can go from $0 to $1 million in a flick of a nanosecond. It happens. See all those stories of people creating something and next thing their businesses just take off, or they're gifted. So just get an idea of that. If you want to do a screenshot of that, you're welcome. I will be sending you the video recording anyway, but if you want to do a screenshot, you're welcome. Any questions on that before we move on? Just want to come back to any questions around what I've shared there. Anything need more clarity? No, all good. So I can stop sharing. Yep, can take my whiteboard away. Okay. So that's a really good way to set up, but it is about putting yourself in the middle. Yeah, finding that space of I deserve, I will receive this, I'm putting this at the universe for me. You know, yes, we can do other things, like I've got some charity stuff on mine, but the center is about you. It has to be really the core aspect of it, because the desire comes from us, from way within. And then what often happens, as I suggested before, the subconscious mind starts playing games with us. You know, how can I receive that? I can't receive that. I'm going to say no to that cup of tea. So this week, well, you know, forever really, but just for this week, for the next 7 days, I want you to be really, really conscious of every interaction you have with every human being that comes your way, or even non-human, if that happens to you in your life as well. But particularly humans. Where are you blocking it? Where are you saying no? Where are you avoiding it? Where do you have a story around it? So it might be good to journal this week, if you're not journaling already. At the end of every day, just call it your desire and vision board journal, if you're whatever. And just really, if you're serious about this, for 1 week, do 10 minutes of journaling in the day. Where was I open? Where was I closed? Where did I avoid? Where did I block my manifestation process? And be really diligent about doing this exercise. Because when we become aware of where we block and where we say no, and where we do not take opportunity, when it's right there in front of us, just a quick share a quick story about things being right in front of us. I was talking to a couple last night who do foraging, and I love foraging for food in wild. And we were stood right next to them, and there was this beautiful yellow plant, and they were talking about they'd just been foraging and they're looking for new plants that they could eat. And I said, well, what about this one? Do you eat this one? They said, no, what is it? I said, it's wild mustard. And it was right next to us, like literally there. So we picked it and we ate it, and I went, well, this has been next to us for like a month and we haven't seen it. And I said, no, obviously what happens oftentimes, things are so close to us, that's when we miss them. So be aware of when things are really close to you, when it's staring you right in the face, when it's tapping you on your shoulder, and you still don't see it, you're still ignoring it, still pushing it away. Because they're the ones that usually, they're so here, it's like we look beyond it, we don't see it in front of us. So look at the things that are directly in front of you, and that will come toward you. Because I'm telling you, when you're in that space, and because we've heightened that space, because we're collective now, energetically, things are going to start moving really fast. As long as we don't put the brakes on. So what I'll do, look, I'm going to bring it to a little bit of a close because I'm aware of time. I'll have to hold the time. But let's just open up for a couple of minutes. Just see if there's any questions or any insights or any thoughts that you'd like to share from what I've shared. Because I don't want you to go away not asking a question if there's a question that needs to be asked. So let's start with questions first, and then if there are comments, we can have comments. So anybody with a question?
So I'll just jump in and just say thank you very much, because this is really wonderful information and a really good presentation, and it's exactly what I was hoping for. So yeah, big thanks. Thank you, Adrian.
Pleasure. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you everyone for coming. Bye.
See you. Thanks, Frank. Any questions, Henrietta or Colin?
Ditto. I'd like to say thank you so much. This has been amazing, and definitely it's giving me pointers. And I love the way you teach, Adrian. Thank you. Great. Love to work with you more. And yes, I think I've got the gist. I think I've got, and I'll have a go.
Fantastic. And we can sit and have a cup of tea and go over it anytime you want to. So it's easy. That's the thing about being local. It's easy, isn't it?
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for this.
Pleasure.
Really great.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Adrian, this was fantastic. I knew I really had to prioritize this and just shuffle away a few other things. The two things that really hit me the most is this thing you say about just saying yes, even though it's the smallest thing and you don't need it. And, that's, I could feel the blockage.
Yeah.
So I think that was very valuable to me. And also when you, the last story you told about this flower, do you have time for just a 1 minute story?
Of course.
Yesterday, I visited a new friend. She really wants to get out of her misery and get into business, and she's going to need a lot of help. And she says, but I have no friends. I'm new here and everything. And we sat down, and she told me about some spiritual experiences she's had with. She recently lost her dog, and the spirit of the dog coming to her. And we were discussing this spiritual thing. And suddenly there's a woman on the table next door. She gets up to us and she says, I just love your conversation. Please let me get to know the two of you because I'm new here and I have no friends and I need a community like this. And I said, well, wonderful. Let me get your number and we will be in touch. And afterwards, the one that I was on the cafeteria with, she says, I was just about to tell her about this place downtown where there seemed to be somebody doing some spiritual stuff. I didn't realize that she was looking for me. So we had two people, and one is asking, do you know anybody? Maybe I can get to know you. And she wanted to actually refer her to some place downtown. So this is about seeing what's right in front of you. That's very, very good.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And when we become more conscious of that, we see it more and more and more in ourselves and in others. So we can also encourage others too. And this is the beauty of this work. When we see other people refusing, we can say, just a moment. I think it'd be lovely for you to actually receive that. Yeah. And encouraging others to receive. Yeah.
That brings up a question for me, which is, so where, I love the way you say, like encourage people, but I might have a tendency to sort of push things.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't feel like the universe is delivering to me so much as I'm trying to make things happen because it's kind of what I do a bit. So
part of your nature.
So yes.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So a lot of it is about tuning into that. You saw on my board that giving and receiving.
Yeah.
Where do I give? Where do I receive? Where's that balance? Where's that? That's why I had it in the universal flow. If you saw the image that I had there, it was this continual flow, giving and receiving, give and receiving, give, receiving. And when we get into that space, it's amazing what we can give and what we can receive. And also, that's notwithstanding not having really clear boundaries. That's the caveat in this. Having a clear boundary, sometimes it's, I can give this, however, I'm realizing there's some sort of imbalance. So I'm going to bring my boundary in now and just look at this from a boundary perspective. Just want to put that little caveat in there as well. But when we find that flow of giving and receiving, it's really beautiful. And we don't have to push as hard. We don't have to push as hard. It's a free-flowing formula. So just, Colin, I just want to jump over to you, and then we'll bring to a close. Any questions for you or any observations or thoughts?
Yeah, just sometimes like a number will appear, and it's like my lucky number and stuff, and it's 69. And when you did your screen share, it said amount of power left 69%. And it's like that, you know, it's a look on car number plates and things. You see things like that. The universe is telling us we're on track. You know, we're just sending your favorite number to you, so that's good. And yeah, yeah, I'm going to put it into action. Thanks, it's brilliant. I'm going to go now.
Yeah, me too, everybody. So look, thank you very much.